Welcome to Buckets, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by NBA futures analyst Brandon Anderson for your Western Conference Semifinals preview of Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Denver Nuggets in round 2. We will give you best bets for the series. We'll tell you our thoughts about it. We'll break it down in detail. We'll talk about the X's and O's, the ups, the downs, the markets. And Brandon's got a plethora of props for you, which is good because the series in general, Brandon and I are kind of like tiptoeing up to and taking a good look at, but we're a little nervous about it. So we'll talk about that on today's show. As a reminder, everything we talk about can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. You can find it in the App Store or Google Play. You can have it on any of your devices. So like I'll put it on my tablet actually, and it lets you flip through like a lot of different stuff. You can read the articles in there that we produce. We produce best bets. I generate articles off of this show that will give you the best bets so you can link them. Quick slips for this show for all of our bets are in the episode description. So you can catch all of our stuff in every episode. Any bets that we make, we're quick slipped in the episode description. Make sure to check those out as well. As a reminder, we are doing Buckets live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, 10:30 Eastern, roughly, based off of when the games go to halftime of the late games this week. So come by. We have a lot of fun. Break down the early game. We do live bets sometimes, live parlays on these second games. And you get a lot of different voices, and the show's a little bit different than the normal Buckets episode, but it's only on YouTube. So go check it out at youtube.com/The Action Network. The second round is here, Brandon, and we have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Denver Nuggets after they got the win in 7 games, like I accurately predicted and bet, and then completely wiped out by betting Clippers in 6 over and over again. I don't know if that was maybe both of me was wrong. Maybe I was wrong, but that's the most likely scenario is when I bet Nuggets in 7, I was wrong. And when I bet Clippers in 6, I was wrong. And so somehow I was wrong both times. That's probably what happened there. I'm going to use the DraftKings number just because it's in front of me. The Oklahoma City Thunder are minus 700 to win this series. The Denver Nuggets are plus 500 to win this series. The most likely outcome is actually I haven't pulled that up yet. So we'll talk about like
kind of 5, I think it's got to be the most likely.
Yeah. So we'll talk about kind of like all the different angles of this series, and we'll get into it. Let's start with your 10-word thesis for this series.
Could Nuggets actually score some on this elite Thunder defense?
Mine is... Okay, hang on. Eventually, the bill comes due for everyone, including the Nuggets. That's exactly 10.
There we go.
You pedantic jackass. That's 10 words exactly. So I got it. I also got a note from one of our listeners, Grace, who also catches my Nugget stuff. She was like, at least he did 10 words. Rude, Grace. So there's 10 words. The bill comes due for everyone, even the Denver Nuggets.
Denver is too much. That's 11.
I'm so tired, and I am very mad at you right now for doing that. Okay, what's your best bet on the series? You've got props. Let's just hit the series props up.
Right, yeah. My best bets for this series will definitely be the props. We'll get to those near the end. The bet for the actual series is going to sound familiar because I think this is maybe the 5th series so far this place I've done this. Going to split the bet in 2. Thunder in 5, Thunder in 6. Thunder in 5 is plus 240 at DraftKings. Thunder in 6 plus 470 at FanDuel. Getting a combined plus 113 odds on that. Basically is Denver to win once, but not 3 times. And Thunder to take the series.
Okay. I'm going to be on... I'm deciding.
As you're deciding right now, let me just add too. I will not, like we just taped an episode with Jim and Joe, and we talked about lessons to be learned, and I talked about I should be betting more in futures. This particular angle is not going to be a big one for me. Like I don't feel confident about this series read. We'll talk about it when we get there. This will not be a heavy play for me. I like the props a lot. I don't feel like I have a great certain read on this one. So I think you're deciding live right now. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. I'm gonna be real
that's about
honest
how I
with you.
feel.
I did post game coverage of Game 7 until like 2 a.m. and it's Sunday, and I've been doing either work, podcasting, or other things for family all day, and so I haven't like I didn't. So I do this where I don't like thinking about the next series before the first one ends. I ran numbers, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to trust just the model, and
All right.
I'm just going to trust the number. Thunder minus 2.5 games, minus 135 is going to be the official play. Thunder
So
minus
that's Thunder and
games,
5 or less.
Thunder and 5 or less. Thunder and 4, Thunder and 5. So from that perspective, I make this minus 187 is what I make Thunder in 4 or 5. And so even though I'm coming in there at a minus 135, I still think that this is the most likely outcome. So I'm willing to go ahead and take this because it's a better number than I've got. And I honestly, this is the other thing. It's just like, look, the percentile I have on this is Thunder win 94% of the time. That's what I have on this win this series 94% of the time, because the Nuggets power rating is not good and the Thunder power rating is very good, as they had the best point differential in NBA history. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just say that the Nuggets are done now. They got the win versus the Clippers. They exposed the frauds, but this Thunder team is not fraudulent.
Wait, okay. Your best bet is Let me help you. Your best bet is Thunder Game 1, Thunder Series minus 285. That's your best bet.
No, I like the 180. Well, no, because I get the one. If Thunder, I'm looking at it right now. Thunder minus 2.5 games is minus 135, right? So that's better than 280. Yes.
Yeah, but you're losing some outs that way.
I'll bet them both. I'll add that one too, because I gave it out on the Best Bets episode of Buckets you can catch in your feed right now, and we'll talk about it. The Nuggets are getting slaughtered in Game 1. If I'm wrong, I could be wrong. 4 teams have done it. 4 teams have won outright in this spot when they've been on less than 3 days rest and the opponent's been on 4 days rest. It's not never happened, but it's only happened 4 times out of 23. So I feel pretty good about my chances here of the Thunder taking Game 1. So yes, I will add that as well, Brandon Anderson. I'll ask you this. What's the most interesting thing to you about when the Thunder are on offense against this Denver defense?
I'm much more interested in the other side. So let's start with Thunder on offense and get that out of the way. I am way intrigued with when the Nuggets are on offense. I've got a lot of questions for you for that. Thunder on offense, I think, is a little more straightforward. The first thing you notice when you, like, for me, when I'm starting at like the 70,000 foot level or whatever the numbers we throw in for that, here's what I see. Top 4 offense, top 4 offense, top 4 defense, Denver defense. Like, there's a clear outlier as to what unit on the court is the bad one. And it's Denver's defense, who was 22nd in the regular season, somewhere in that range, depending on where you grab the number. Effectively, that's something close to 75th worst percentile or somewhere in that range. Can they be better? Certainly. We've seen them do that. We saw them do it in Game 7. Can they be better for a whole series when they're tired after Game 7? I don't know. Denver was 9th in net rating this season. That's pretty good. That's top 10. Oklahoma City was plus 8.9 better in net rating than Denver's number 9 net rating. So there's a pretty big gulf here. And it's not just that Denver is number 22 defensively. It's that the Thunder are number 1 with a bullet defensively. So it's a pretty big gap there. The other side is where we're at. Thunder on offense. I'm not positive that I think the Thunder offense is an elite offense, like the metrics would say. And I think it's going to swing a lot on a factor that could go under either column here, which is, will Denver turn it over? If you look at the 4 factors, Oklahoma City has an outlandishly good turnover margin, and it's both ways. They don't turn it over ever, and Denver doesn't turn teams over, so they're not going to get Oklahoma City turnovers here. So that makes you efficient. Better to get a shot up than a turnover, it turns out. That's a pretty good way to do some good offense. They turn teams over at outlandish rates. I think second highest in the league. So about half of Oklahoma City's net rating on the season is turnover margin when you look at the 4-factor stuff. So I think that there's room for like wild swings of variance in the series because a Denver turnover is a double whammy. It's bad for the offense because they didn't get to do anything, but it's also the thing that I think makes Oklahoma City's offense look elite, even though I'm not positive it is, because now it's a pick six going the other way, and Oklahoma City is out and running, getting easy stuff. Otherwise, Oklahoma City is just pretty efficient. They're 7th in EFG versus Denver league average. They're top 7 2-point percent. They're top 7 3-point percent. They're not amazing. They're pretty good. They're really good. They don't turn it over. They don't get to the line, and Denver doesn't foul. So even though they're number 1 in the league at shooting free throws, I don't think they'll get easy stuff. The way they get easy stuff is Denver turnovers. That to me is like the swing of the series. If you just showed me blind, if I can't watch any of the games, and you showed me Denver's number of turnovers each game, I think that might be the one stat that I don't want to know. And I could say, okay, here's how I'm going to bet that game. If it just got that one number.
I will do you better because I actually have looked this up before, so I already had it saved. When Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray play in the playoffs together, so if you exclude the 2 seasons that Jamal Murray missed with injury, in the playoffs, when the Denver Nuggets have fewer turnovers than their opponent, they are 21-9 straight up and ATS, 70%. They win 70% of playoff games when they have fewer turnovers than their opponent, which kind of indicates to you, guess what? If they have 21 of those when they have fewer than them, that's right. They're only 19-18 straight up, 16-19-2 when they have more turnovers than the opponent. So this is like a huge battleground. Denver did, for the most part, Denver's worst games were in the Clipper series, were when they gave the Clippers easy opportunities in transition. They're a terrible transition defensive team. They're better versus the Clippers, but in general, they're a terrible transition defensive team. That's not all Jokic. It's Michael Porter Jr. It's Jamal Murray. Those 3 guys are bad in transition. You can get downhill on them. So that absolutely is a factor. And you're right. Like, if you could tell us, like if you came back and you're like, I've come from the future and all I have to share with you is the turnover margin from Thunder Nuggets 2nd round series, I'd be like, really? That's what you got? But I would also be able to accurately tell you who won the series, I feel like. And if you're like, well, isn't that everybody? No, there are teams that can turn the ball over and win. The Golden State Warriors did it for years, where their turnovers were a huge problem and they won anyway. There are other teams that can win. And even then, like, look, the Nuggets are still over 500 in the playoffs with Jokic and Murray when they turn the ball over more than the opponent. That's how good they are. But if they don't, then oh, good God. Like, then they are just destroyers of worlds. Thunder half-court offense this season did rank 3rd overall in points per possession. It's really good. It got better as the year went along. So this is actually a really interesting question, and it will dovetail into our discussion of the Thunder defense versus the Nuggets offense. The first half of the year, the Oklahoma City Thunder were on pace for the 5th best defense, schedule adjusted all time. A guy named Jared Dubin, who I've known forever. He used to work at one of my sites. He works for CBS Sports on the football side. He runs a Substack called Last Night in Basketball. It's excellent. He actually has an updating page that gives you the adjusted era offensive and defensive ratings. So if you adjust it for how teams play now with the adjusted efficiencies, it tells you how much better were they relative to all-time numbers. The Thunder are on track for one of the best defenses ever. And then over the back half of the season, it slid. And there's really no clear indication of whether that was, hey, they had a really great run, and then they just, like, it's hard to do that for 6 months, or whether it was, well, they'd already locked up the 1 seed by, like, February. So, yeah, they slid a little bit. They rested some guys, and it slid a little bit. Or if there's something fundamentally that started to kind of shift with their defense. This will be an interesting test of that, because the Memphis Grizzlies were not that because, well, gestures broadly. Like, there was no chance for Memphis in that series. So this will be a much better test of that defense. On the offensive side, Oklahoma City's offense did the opposite, where it started outside the top 10 for much of the first half of the season, and then just like kept ticking up. And every week I would do these updates, and it's like, oh, the Thunder are top 10 now. Oh, the Thunder are top 7 now. Oh, the Thunder are top 5. And they wound up in a very good spot here, in like mostly because of Shea. It really is, like, mostly because of Shea. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the biggest reason this offense is great. If you ask, what are the Thunder going to do on Shea? Christian Braun will take the assignment. They're going to hide Jamal Murray as much as possible, likely on either Lou Dort or Cason Wallace / Alex Caruso / Isaiah Joe / Aaron Wiggins / whatever, AJ Mitchell, Brendan Carlson, like whoever they have, the phalanx of wings that they have, they'll try and stash him there. I imagine MPJ is probably going to play Dort because I think AG is going to have to take J-Dub. If they play the two big lineup, then that changes things, and Aaron will have to take probably Hartenstein while Jokic defends Chet, is what I would anticipate, but maybe not. What'll be an interesting question for the Thunder offense is, okay, if you put Jokic in the 1-5, if let's say that he guards Chet, do you trust Chet as the roll man? Do you want Chet as the roller in that situation, as the short roll guy? Because Chet's very skilled and Chet's very athletic, but Chet's also less smooth in those situations. He's not as good of a screener as iHeart, and he's going to probably not get that off as clean as maybe you would want. Versus iHeart's going to be able to do that very succinctly. But the question is just like, if I'm right and they put Jokic on Chet and Gordon on iHeart in those two big sets, now what? Now it's like, do you want to involve Gordon? Because they're just going to switch that, and they're going to put Jamal Murray on, or Christian Braun on Isaiah Hartenstein, and be like, yeah, if you want to opt for post ups, you can do that with Isaiah Hartenstein. We'll take that. That's cool. What they want to do, if you're asking what they want to do, the Thunder want to get the Nuggets having to send help and then kick to the corners for Lou Dort / Isaiah Joe / Cason Wallace threes. That's what they want to do. Chet's going to, SGA is going to score in the series because SGA is going to score because he's very good. This is not a drop team, so SGA is not going to have as many of the pull-up jumpers. Now, he can beat Christian and ISO as much as he wants, but they are a very heavy pick-and-roll team. Like, that's how Chet, that's how, I see you can say that, Chet, that's how SGA gets to his stuff, is it's pick-and-roll. They are one of the heaviest pick-and-roll teams in the league. In isolation, they are still excellent. That's not like it's a bad thing. But that's going to be the real challenge here is, okay, you can get Christian Braun and get him behind you and get him in jail so you can draw fouls and get to your mid-range push jumper. But you're going to have to do that ISO because you bring a pickup and they're going to blitz you and be like, we want the ball out of SGA's hands as much as possible. This is going to be similar to some of the other series that we've seen with that, which is why I think J-Dub is going to have another monster series. But it's also possible, like, look, I talked all about how much the Cavs were going to blitz Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton didn't let them do that because he was just in their teeth before they could even figure out what their defense was doing. So that's something that SGA can very much do. I've talked for a while. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the Thunder offense versus the Nuggets defense.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get back to some of the prop stuff, but I kind of had the same thoughts on SGA and J-Dub, that J-Dub had a pretty rough game. His first game against Denver in the regular season, that was the season opener for the Thunder. He's come a long way since then. He was really good in the other three games, and he was outstanding in round one against Memphis. And, you know, you gave credit to the MVP, likely MVP Shea, for why the Thunder offense got so good. Fair, you know, the MVP for a reason. I think J-Dub improving has been a big part of that as well, and making that leap a little later than we had hoped for most improved batters. But I think his offense will be really good. I like J-Dub assists. We'll come back to that. I did notice with Shea, his point totals against Denver were not huge. He had a 25. He had a couple 28s. Those are good numbers. Those are below average for Shea. Like there's the old Shea to score 27 in every game that Jim and Joe and I loved last round at 30, and then he scored 19 season low the first game. He has not had huge scoring games against Denver this season. So I think you're right. I think that they're going to try to get J-Dub and others to beat them and have it not necessarily be Shea that way. Yeah. Anything else on Thunder on offense before we switch to the other side?
Just that I would say, like, look, they played twice at the beginning of the season, and they split those games. The Thunder got clacked on opening night, and that was like the first moment when I was like, oh, the Thunder are going to kill everyone this year. Like, I'm pretty sure I bet the win total on the Thunder again after the season opener. And then they played
Just to be
again.
clear, you said the Thunder got clocked. The Nuggets got clocked on opening night in Denver.
Yeah, Denver got clocked on opening night. And that was like, I bet the Thunder win total over again after that game, just because I was like, they're going to kill.
that game, I think it was like the Thursday opening night. That game I had on my DVR, and you know me, football season, like October 24th or something. I watched that game in like mid-January, and I was like, oh my gosh, Chet's amazing. The Thunder are incredible. What's happening right now?
The first matchup of 2 in March, Shea got up 32 attempts, only shot 15 to 32 from the field, but got 40 points on that one. Both of those were at home. The Nuggets won the second one, but it was on the second night of a back-to-back. So, like, there's, as with all these matchups, there's always going to be some of this that's, like, a little bit confusing. Lou Dort is the type of defender that gives Jamal Murray problems. Let's shift to the defense, to the Nuggets side of the ball. Because he is definitely the side, he is the type of defender that causes Murray problems. Chris Dunn I identified as not. Now, Murray didn't have a great series anyway. He just didn't. He missed a bunch of shots I thought was pretty good. He was great in Game 5, but in general, like I think Murray left a lot on the table in that Clipper series. I don't know how much is going to be on the table for him in this one because the Thunder are going to be in his grill, and this is the type of series where Murray has struggled before. They have physical, athletic, huge defenders that will take away his space with size and athleticism as opposed to just acumen and speed. And that's where he struggles. Now, if they decide, I don't know what, like, look, the problem is like Caruso in this determination of the Jamal Murray stuff, because it's like, if you tell me the prototype, I go, oh, like that's not bad for Murray. And if you were like, yeah, it's Alex Caruso, I'd be like, oh, that's very bad for Murray because Caruso's a monster. You have a bunch of questions and thoughts on this one, so why don't you take the wheel and let's talk about the Nuggets offense versus the Thunder defense.
Yeah, so you know me, I'm looking at like the 4-factor, the big picture stuff. So can Denver score in Oklahoma City? Nobody scores in Oklahoma City, so probably not Denver either. So here, let me start with the bad news and then the good news. So the bad news is this. Denver, top 5 in fast break points. Oklahoma City's defense, number 1 fewest fast break points. Denver, top 5 in transition points. Oklahoma City, number 1 in fewest transition points. Denver, number 1 in points in the paint. Oklahoma City, guess what? Number 1, points in the paint defensively. They're pretty good at a lot of the stuff, and they're pretty good at those precise things that Denver does well. Denver wants to shoot a lot of twos, and they're number 2 in the league at 2-point percentage. That's where they play. That's Jokic. Oklahoma City allows the fewest twos of anybody and is number 1 at 2-point percentage defense. That's all adding up to normally landslide, oh no, I don't like this matchup for Denver. However, Denver's pretty good at 2-point percentage because they have Nikola Jokic. And am I sure that Oklahoma City's defense and their magic number just makes that go away, or is he still Nikola Jokic? So that's my first question. The next thing is, Oklahoma City's defense wants you to take threes. They're taking away your twos. They want you to take threes. Certain guys, I understand, they're number 1 at 3-point percentage defense, but they're giving up more threes than an average team compared to the twos they're doing. Denver doesn't take threes. They're dead last in 3-point percentage. However, much to my chagrin, they're top 5 in 3-point percentage. What if the Nuggets get forced into accidentally winning some of the math problems? That happened in the regular season. The Nuggets averaged under 32 3-point attempts per game in the season. Against Oklahoma City, they averaged almost 35 per game. They had 2 games of 38. So not huge numbers. They're going to turn them into the Celtics. But what happened is in one of the games, I think the final game, I believe Denver shot 71 EFG because they could not miss the threes that the Thunder were like, please, this is how we'd like you to play. And the Nuggets were like, cool, we made them tonight. We win. I think they scored like 140 in that game and scored, like 87 or something in opening night. So I see a wide berth here. So, okay, maybe Jokic just beats the 2-point percentage. That's number 1. Maybe Oklahoma City accidentally forces Denver to do a thing that they should be doing more, which is make some threes. And Denver can get some second chance points. They're top 7 in offensive rebounding. The Thunder can be beaten on the boards. They're 24th in defensive second chance points allowed. That was a thing that happened in the regular season. Denver had over 25% offensive rebound rate against Oklahoma City. They averaged 13 plus a game. Okay, there's another chance. And by the way, that's Jokic again. And I think Denver will get to the line some. They're top 7 on free throw rate. And that is the one thing in like the 4 factors of it all with Oklahoma City. They play so aggressively that they do foul a lot. They do put you on the line a lot. So I started with the bad news. Jokic could beat the 2-point defense. Denver can hit some threes. Denver can get second chance points and score at the line. The matchup stuff tells me that there's a lot of reason to think Denver might actually be able to get some real offense against even this defense.
Yeah, I think looking back on their matchups, it has felt much more like the Thunder are able to force the turnovers, to force the mistakes, get out and run. And they're able to create high percentage looks versus a vulnerable defense rather than OKC locks them down, shuts them up. Nobody's like, I think this offense is really good. I think there's a very big difference between the Clippers defense and this one in that the Clippers defense is like fundamentally sound. Everyone was really impressed with the Clippers defense, and it was like statistically really great this year. But the Clippers defense was just like, we contest everything and we don't mess up, and it's like a positional defense. That's really good.
To put it in different words, the Clippers defense is Jeff Van Gundy coaching them up, and like it's fundamentals, and this is a coaching win doing the way it's supposed to do for guys that are trying very hard and doing their jobs also. The Thunder is schematic, and also every guy we have is a nasty defender ruining your life tonight. It's both of the things. That's the difference.
Like it's the new Jurassic World movie where Chris Pratt is able to control the Raptors. Mark Daigneault is Chris Pratt. And like the Raptors are just like, we have a team called the Raptors, but they're Velociraptors, just tearing the ball away from you and running up the floor. So in the regular season, these are some numbers I think that are significant. When Jokic was matched against Chet Holmgren, he was 12 of 31 from the field, 39%. When he was matched up against Isaiah Hartenstein, 16 of 25, 64%. I can tell you from watching the games, Chet's length bothers him. Chet blocked the Sombor shuffle. Nobody does that. It's him and Wemby are the only guys I've ever seen block it. It's an impossible. It's a 7-footer putting a shoulder into you and then fading away off of immaculate footwork. And they block the Sombor shuffle, that fadeaway that he does. So that's to say that Chet can give Jokic trouble. I kind of wonder if this is going to be a small ball series, that they're not going to play too big, that they're instead going to be like, I think they will probably risk what the Clippers did, which is the Clippers gambit was, okay, Russell Westbrook and Aaron Gordon, you're going to have to beat us. And Russell Westbrook went, I'm 42% from the corners, so I could beat you. And Aaron Gordon just whipped Kawhi, just beat the crap out of him for 7 games. It wasn't the box score stuff. It was the physicality and sealing him, making him work on the glass. And then they tried to save Kawhi by being like, all right, you go over here and we'll get you a break, buddy. And every time that they put Norman Powell or James Harden and tried to hide them on Aaron Gordon, he obliterated them on the interior. The Thunder defenders are much better at those kind of inside positions. They'll get beat by that, but they won't get beat as often. And J-Dub can probably honestly hold up. Like J-Dub can hold up in that position. One of the things that's going to be really problematic is Aaron Gordon did not shoot well from 3-point range consistently versus the Clippers. And he shot great in the regular season. The reason this matters, if Aaron plays in the dunker, that dunker spot down low where they like to get the lob to him, there is maybe not a better defender of that particular spot on the floor than Jalen Williams. When I did Shea defensive tape, my biggest takeaway was, holy crap, Jalen Williams is incredible defensively. And the reason was because on all of these possessions where guys would try and make that little dump off pass to the dunker spot, it's a turnover going the other way because J-Dub either stole the ball outright or deflected it. So that messes up a little bit of the Nuggets offense. The 3-point stuff I think is really important here. The Nuggets, the going line on Locked On Nuggets that I also host all year has been this: the Nuggets can win if you don't shoot a lot of 3-pointers, and the Nuggets can win if they shoot a lot of 3-pointers. The Nuggets cannot win if you shoot a lot of 3-pointers and they don't.
Right.
That's the big key. It's the gap between the two. They've won games in both situations where the opponent didn't shoot much, so they made more threes, but the Nuggets were more efficient from 2. And they've won games where the opponent shot a lot, but the Nuggets got a lot of open threes, and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon and Russell Westbrook all made threes, and Jokic. So look, I don't know where Jokic's game is at going into the series. He was not in a good place in that Clipper series. He was just not. He was never comfortable. And I don't know how much of that Dagnall's going to crib, because they did some interesting things with the matchup zone on the weak side to make him hesitate. Like, this is the first series I've really seen Jokic hesitate and not really be able to solve it. And they're going to steal, I think, a lot of that, because their rotations, like, imagine if you're the Clippers, only instead of Norman Powell and James Harden, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Cason Wallace, and Alex Caruso. Then where I come out on the net of this, to kind of circle back, is I still am just kind of like, even if Denver, it's like, hey, they put up a 115 versus OKC on offensive rating, I still think it's going to be a 117, 118 for OKC. So it's like the Nuggets have to get a game where they're at like 113 and they hold the Thunder defense down. And their defense was really good in round 1. Like, I got to give the Nuggets a lot of credit. Their defense was good, especially over the back half of that series. It was tremendous. They were also playing guys with the most predictable offense imaginable, and OKC's got a few more bells and whistles. They're not like a hyper imaginative. They're very much like, our guys are good and we'll beat you. But they do have a little bit more creativity and inspiration, and so I think that's relevant here too. We got to do hierarchy, because this is the MVP battle. So, I'll ask you, who's the best player in the series, Brandon Anderson?
It's Nikola Jokic. And for me, still until proven otherwise, it's Nikola Jokic in his own tier. I still need to Shai do it in a real playoff series against a really good playoff team to put him in the same tier. We're going to get the narrative thing, because I have to assume we're getting the MVP trophy given out during this series, probably this week coming up. So, we love the David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon thing. Like, we're going to get that possibility. I think it's interesting too, Matt, because we talked about this when we did the Oklahoma City first round series about, like, I don't know, man. We always say the thing, MVPs don't win the championship. So I think that's the Jokic thing. I think the Jokic MVP this year, Jokic MVP, doesn't win the championship. That's the thing I kept saying. One-man teams don't win championships or make runs. I think Shai winning MVP is a different sort of MVP than usual, and that maybe he can still win the championship. So when I look at the hierarchy, it's Jokic, Shai, the top 2. You can decide if you want whichever order. For me, it's pretty clear it's those 2. The next 3, for me, in this series, it's J-Dub, Chet, and Murray. And I think for Denver to have any real shot to win the series, 2 things have to happen. Number 1, Jokic has got to be first with a bullet. He's got to prove me right that he is still first ahead by a tier of Shai. And more importantly, number 2, I think Jamal's got to be number 3 in the series. Jamal doesn't need to be number 2 ahead of Shai. Jamal's got to be ahead of J-Dub and Chet if Denver wants to contend or win the series. And I think that's asking way too much of him. I would love to see it. I love watching him. This defense, like you talked about, Dort, Caruso, all the guys they're going to throw at him, as good as Chet and J-Dub are, and defensively, all that stuff counts. To me, Murray, I know it's Jokic, Shai, we got to do the hierarchy. Murray's spot in the hierarchy is what really matters to me, and I can't quite get far enough with him. But if I'm wrong about it, I think he would be the biggest reason why.
Let me reframe it for you, because I think this is a better way to think of it. I don't think Murray can be better than them. The question, I think, is, can Murray Gordon, and MPJ, those three be better than Chet and J-Dub. Those three versus the Thunder 2. And if you're like, yeah, but the depth, Casey Wallace is not going to get a chance in this series to like create off the dribble. Isaiah Joe is going to get some opportunities because they really do trust him, and they trust that like they are so dedicated to the process. He's going to get chances to run some of the second unit. But the Thunder, for the most part, it is Shea, it is J-Dub and Chet, and then for the rest of the guys, they are all just like role players. They do their job. They shoot spot up threes. They'll drive and take layups if the lane is open based off of the scheme. But like, it's all system.
I just want to clarify. I mostly agree, but you're sure you're including Isaiah Hartenstein in the rest of the guys here? I think he's the fourth.
No, because like you're not going to find a bigger iHeart fan than I am. He's amazing. He's incredible. Outside Joe Delara, he's amazing. He's incredible. But his role on this team in particular is very. iHeart doesn't do a lot of like, or hasn't yet. Maybe he does in the series. I'm open to it. He can. That's the big key here. Is like the Nuggets. Other guys can't do anything else. They can barely do what they do. The Thunder guys can all do way more than they do, but they don't. And so it's a matter of function, not form. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the question for me really is it's Murray, Gordon, MPJ. Can those three guys have it where over the course of the series you're like, Chet had a really good series, but so did Murray and Gordon. So did Murray and MPJ. So did Gordon and MPJ. And that differential winds up being the impact factor. That's what it kind of looks like.
And what sucks is we might not get a real fair answer to it because MPJ's got one shoulder right now, and Gordon's clearly playing hurt also. And so when you factor that in, it's really hard to get there.
Have I mentioned I'm on Thunder in 5? So, yeah, I mean, I think I'll say this. Aaron Gordon deserves a lot more credit than he's been given for his impacts on this team and what he's contributed. He was incredible in that Clipper series, and he's been great in every single playoff series, and he will take the fight, and he will battle with Chet, and he will battle with iHeart, and he will win a lot of those. But he's also got a lot of miles on him, and he did just like Gordon just spent the entire last 2 weeks fighting Kawhi Leonard. Just every possession, wrestling with him, combating, trying to stay with him, trying to hang, contesting the turnaround jumpers, etc. So we'll see what he's got left in the tank. Like that's a big thing in the series is if you give these teams 2 weeks to rest up and get ready, then yeah, I'm probably like, you know what, the Nuggets will probably make this a long series. I just do not know how much more they got left in the tank, man. This is a 7-man rotation coming off of Game 7. And the history of those is awful. It's awful.
And I mentioned like the whole like 1-man teams MVP. I've kind of brought that up a few times about how they typically don't even win a round. If they do, it's often in 7, like we just saw. Not that Jokic had a masterclass Game 7. That was a Nuggets team win. But typically those teams that do win 0 or maybe 1 more time in the second round. It's like the hero emptied his tank. They did the thing. They won a round. Get off my back, everybody. Okay, I'm out. So, okay, a couple other miscellaneous questions for you. Coaching. Is David Adelman proven now? And is Mark Daigneault proven yet in the playoffs?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't think Dags did a great job in the Mavs series last year. I think one of the things that's probably going to be true is Daigneault is a product of the Thunder system. He coached other places before, but like he really came up in this system. And they're a team that, there's all the nonsense in Philly of trust the process. Like OKC's actually about that. Like they are so dedicated to, if we do things the right way, we can be satisfied with the results. Because you can't control the results. That's the whole thing is like, you don't get to decide that Serge Ibaka hurt his calf before the Spurs series in 2013 or 14. You don't get to decide that Thabos Avalosha could knock down wide open threes that he had made all year. Like there's all these things that get in the way. And so I think he's going to stick with the same parameters. I do not know how he will react if the Nuggets put him into an uncomfortable position where the Thunder are all of a sudden up against it and they're up against real adversity. I don't know how he's going to react. I do not know if he will change his program, because like last year they kept doing what they were doing until game 5. I think second half game 5 they started to be like, fine, okay, we're not going to double Luka. We're going to try and stay home on PJ Washington, and then Luka killed him, right? But they were really reluctant to get away from that. As much as PJ Washington killed him, it took him until game 5 for him to make that kind of change, and it was too late by then. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be in a position to have to do that in this series. Like, he gets to coach from the high ground in this series in so many ways that this may not be the one to really find out if Dags is made for the playoffs or not. What I will tell you is Adelman's done a terrific job of every guy. This is such a hard thing. The NBA is so much about politics as far as coaching goes, and nobody realizes it. Like, fans are just like, that rotation was stupid. Why did he play that guy? That play was dumb, and think that that's coaching, and it's not. It's being the CEO of like an extremely complicated group of psychos and egomaniacs.
That's by the way why Joe Mazzulla has been an awesome coach for the Celtics.
Yes. He's also got a really good group of guys that are all very selfless, but yes. What Adelman's done is, and the firings of Malone and Booth set this up, is ownership came in and was like, I just fired your GM and coach because you guys are such screw-ups this year. I don't care you're winning 50 games. This is unacceptable. Get it together. Adelman's your coach. Go win. And the team responded. And Adelman's been like, hey, if you're playing well, I'm going to play you. If Russell Westbrook makes 3 bad mistakes, I'm probably not going to play him. I'm going to play Jalen Pickett. Oh, if MPJ is getting cooked and can't stay on the floor, I'm going to put in Peyton Watson, or I'm going to go to a different line. I'm going to put in Russ. But if MPJ's making shots and we need size, I'm going to keep playing MPJ. It's all based off of like what the team needs. He doesn't have to worry about any of that stuff. He's just got to solve the problems in front of him. And some of the stuff I will tell you that he came up with in Game 7, James Harden, I have a long history of covering James Harden. James Harden was baffled by some of the defensive coverages he saw in Game 7. Like, Adelman killed Ty Lue over the back half of that series. He crushed him. And it was, to me, very indicative of who Ty Lue is as a coach. A very good coach, a top 10 coach, but not the coach that he's described as. And it was a good indication of, everyone really kind of leaned into that narrative of like, oh boy, an interim coach versus Ty Lue. And I was like, I don't know, like, we'll see. And Adelman did really well. So I think this is probably edge Dagnall because he's got the high ground. But if this series, the longer this series goes, the longer I think it's in favor of David Adelman.
Yeah, I mean, Daggs has been on my Coach of the Year ballot, I think 3 straight years, top 3. Like, he's impeachable as a regular season product coach. Yeah. I think you could argue that what Edelman just did in the last 10 games has been more impressive postseason than anything Daggs has accomplished so far. That's probably going to change a month from now, but so far, I think that's interesting. Here's my next question. Denver. We got the Aaron Gordon miracle dunk last round. We got Jamal Murray hitting game-winning jumpers. We got the best player in the world, Jokic, doing clutch stuff. Do you know how many games Oklahoma City won one possession this season?
5?
1.
Jesus.
Now that's because they won by 1,000 most of the time. Yeah. That's the answer there. They were 1-4 in the regular season. Technically speaking, 2, because they got the closeout against the Grizzlies as a 1-possession win. So that was their second of the season. If it's a close game, could the Thunder steal one of the close games the way they did against the Clippers? Because that entire series swung on the Gordon dunk.
It's a good question. I'm thinking. My opinion is that the Thunder are built a little better. The Thunder have really good leadership, I think, on this team. I think Shea's a really good leader for them. I think Chet's a really good leader for them. I think J-Dub's a really good leader for them. I think Hartenstein is a really good leader for them. I think Dags is a really good leader for them. I think their organization, this team, I think, is probably, they're young, right? So maybe not. They don't play young. They don't play stupid. They don't play rushed, and they don't play overconfident. They don't write checks they can't cash. There's like a lot of this that goes hand in hand, which is like, the guys that talk the most when they get rocked don't get up. And I think you saw that with Clippers Nuggets, especially in that first half. Like once the Clippers led that game by 5 points going in the second quarter, but the Nuggets hit them with one run and the Clippers were just like, okay, because they have no leadership structure. There's nothing there. I think that that's the big key with these clutch games is like, you have to be able to recover from that to settle things down. To be like, yeah, they won that game, but it's fine. Aaron Gordon hit that dunk and like the Clippers world ended. They got smashed in game 5. And that was the series. Was game 5. So I don't think that there will be enough clutch games in this series for it to be an issue. I think the Nuggets can steal a clutch game. I do not think that they can take multiple to swing the series into a 7th game.
Yeah, I think that's my assessment on that as well. I'm just looking for ways. Look, this is our third preview of the round so far, and granted, we said Cavs will win pretty easily, and the Cavs are down 0-1. Yeah. But so far, we're looking for an underdog to believe can push to 6 or 7. So I'm looking for Denver reasons. Here's my last one: the Russell Westbrook of it all. There is a world, Matt Moore, where this is the Russell Westbrook playoffs. The revenge tour. He beat the Clippers with the technical to exclamation mark his entire career. God bless you, Russell Westbrook. Now it's Oklahoma City, who he's got pretty good feelings for. But, stick with the theme. I was going to say it could be the Rockets next. Can't anymore. My notes are expired from a couple of hours ago. Okay, that point is gone. Okay, forget the Russell Westbrook. But I think that I'm going to disagree with the thing you said earlier about like even if the Nuggets score really well and they get to a 115, did they get the Thunder? The Thunder is still a 117, 118. My instinct is I think that there could be really wild swings from game to game in this series. I don't think that we're going to I think the Thunder will be a more stable team with a very high floor. The Nuggets in the regular season had that 71 EFG game against Oklahoma City, but they also had a 37 and a 41. They could not score in 2 of the games. And I think Russell Westbrook is a very good example of that. Like, Russell Westbrook doesn't have median games. No. Either Westbrook does what he did in game 7, and he's like maybe the best player on the court by some of the metrics and doing all the things he does, or he goes, I think, 1 of 10 in one of the games this season and 2 of 9 in one of the games. I think Denver could go the same way because, again, some of that other stuff, if the free throws start loading up, Denver could really get a big foul margin. And now Chet's on the bench because he's in foul trouble. And now Denver's getting all this easy stuff and Oklahoma City can't run off the free throws. Or the other way, Denver starts turning it over. We saw that in some of the Clippers games. We've seen any number of games against the Thunder. When the turnovers start, woof, we're suddenly ahead by 30 like 5 minutes later. I think, if I could find a book that would say Thunder to win 2 games in the series by 20 plus points, whatever number you want to give me for that, I think that the Thunder are going to get some big wins. I think the Nuggets are going to be all over the place. I think they're going to lose ugly multiple times in the series, but I think that there's enough variance, which you want variance if you're the underdog. You want a chance for something good to happen. And I think Westbrook is kind of like the icon of that. You've got the best player in the world. That's Jokic, not Westbrook, just to be clear. You got variance. You've got there are outs. If I'm playing poker against the guy with the most chips at the table because it's the Thunder, I want outs. I might have to make a bet on an inside straight or something and see if I can have a shot here. The thing you shouldn't do usually, because I just needed to get some outs and try to win the pot. And I think that the Nuggets have more outs than it seems, even if they're outs that are going to go bad most of the time.
I don't disagree with you. They have like a lot of different outs with very small windows, I think is kind of the key.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
Is
and
like,
just to be clear, Thunder in 5 and 6. Like
yeah,
I'm just like one more Nuggets game than you. I'm not making the case for Denver
yeah,
to win the series,
yeah.
but you're right. The outs are pretty narrow still.
Yeah, that's the kind of way to think about it is like, there's a lot of ways that Denver could win this series. They all have a very, very small chance of happening because of the margin that OKC has. Margin for error is a huge deal in these playoffs. Like, it just is. That's why close series go long. Like, this is, to me, is what was really Warriors Rockets. The margin for error for Golden State was a lot thinner than most people thought it was in that series. They thought that the Rockets had a wide, or that the Warriors had a wide margin of error because the Rockets are not good. Like, they're not playoff good. They can't score. Problem is, like, Golden State's not good enough either, so their margin for error was very small too. And Houston's
Yeah.
defense was really good, and Fred VanVleet was great, along with Steven Adams, and Amen Thompson. But in this one, I just wind up being like, yeah, like there's a lot of different ways that they could do this. The Westbrook of it all. What'll be interesting here is this question. They're going to leave him open to send help. That's what they're going to do. Every number shows that that's what they do, is that they give up a huge number of threes. They allow the lowest percentage of threes made. That's on the season. After the deadline, it was it was somewhere between 9th and 19th. I don't remember which number it was, but it wasn't first in terms of percentage. They still gave up the most. The key is with their closeouts, because I'll tell you, having done the film on them, they and Minnesota and Houston are the teams that close out with the best veracity. Like, they are flying at you and not past you. They don't fly by. They are running out to you, they are going to try and rush you. And Russ can be rushed. And if you rush him and he can't get that shot off, he's going to take a 2-dribble jumper. And that's when you've won. At that point, you have won the possession. When he makes it, it doesn't matter. You want him shooting 1,000 of those. Like, you want him shooting 10 of those a game, and you will win. That expected value on that is somewhere around 0.2 points per possession. That's how bad he is at those shots. So there are ways for this defense to disrupt Russ. There's ways for this defense to disrupt. I actually think Michael Porter Jr. might be very comfortable in the series, because MPJ started to learn something in the last series versus the Clippers, which is like, just shoot it, man. Like, don't try and generate an open shot. Don't worry about it being perfect. Don't worry about, like, they need the offense. Just shoot the contested shot with confidence. You're 6'10". And if he does that, then he can have a really big impact on the series. My general thoughts as we wrap up and head towards props here. If Jokic if first round was just Zoo and that defense, then this is a Jokic series. I'm still a little timid about it. It's not a Jamal Murray series. It is an Aaron Gordon series. It is an MPJ series. It's not a Russell Westbrook series. It's a Peyton Watson series for sure. This is a J-Dub series. I think Shea's going to have some great nights, and he's going to have some nights. It'll be somewhere in between like Memphis and what we expected Memphis to be. One of the things that the Nuggets will do differently than Memphis is they will give him the switch of Jamal Murray onto him, and he will drive him baseline and hit baseline jumper after baseline jumper on him until they have to start bringing doubles. But they'll do that. Like, their base coverage, they're just going to give the switch. It drives me nuts. I'm always like, why don't you scram this? Like, why don't you try and get Jamal out of the switch? They're going to give it to him. Like, they're going to give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a switch onto Jamal Murray, and he's going to cook him. But there'll be enough possessions where he then runs that back into a Hart or Chet screen, and they blitz him, that other guys get involved. I think J-Dub's going to eat. I think he's going to get late closeouts, pump fake, drive past. He does a looping layup I like a lot, rolling from the right side of the court above the break to the left side of the rim, that I like a lot. It's one of my favorite moves he does. He's going to have a great series. Chet's going to have a great series. Chet blocks is going to be a prop for me. He blocks so many of Jokic's stuff. It's insane. I don't know about Caruso. I don't know
Chet
about
blocks,
Facebook.
by the way, they won't even put up blocks leaderboard. It's not bettable. They've not listed anywhere. I wanted Shea, and it's like can't find it. It's not a market.
That's a bold one. If it comes out, we'll have to get you on to talk about it on buckets. All right, let's hit props and get out of here.
I be 2 minutes before that, just because I want to make sure a couple things we just had in the other episode, but I want to make sure it's on here. Thunder in 5, Thunder in 6 was my pick. Thunder and Celtics minus 1.5 series, minus 112 at Bet Rivers. Just Thunder in 6 or less, Celtics in 6 or less. You liked that one enough that you wanted me to log it while we were recording, so I'm going to include that here. And then I want to make sure your stat gets in here as well, our old Raheem Palmer stat as well. This is not a game 1 episode, but game 1 is in the books already, even though, depending on when you're listening to this, it doesn't matter. Game 1's already over. The Thunder have already won. Matt, give me the stat and why the game 1 series minus 285 bet might be worth considering.
Oh no, this is going up before. David will get this up before it.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. The Thunder have already won.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, first, here's the stats from Raheem Palmer for the series winner. Teams that win Game 7 in the following round are 36 and 54, 40% in the following series. It's not great. They do not win these series after going to a Game 7. But when we talk about Game 1s, it is catastrophic. Teams coming off of a Game 7 when they have less than 3 days rest and the opponent has more than 4 days rest in Game 1 are 4-19 straight up, 7-16, 30% against the spread. So, yeah, Thunder Game 1 Thunder series is a very, 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 very good bet.
So suffice to say, if the Nuggets win game 1, whatever it is that happened, we gave you a lot of ways the Nuggets could win a game. If they win game 1, both you and I will be very much reevaluating what we think about the series because we are counting that one as in the books. Okay, so I told Matt before the show, I have 6 series prop bets that I want to give out. So I'm going to go through them. I'm going to tell you number 1, number 2 along the way, and then I will at the end tell you what my favorites are in case you don't want to do all of them. Now, some of these are every game bets. You know how those go? They feel great for a while, and then there's like one outlier game, and then we lose. That's how those go. Some of these are any game bets where you just need it to happen one time, any point in the series, one time. So I'm starting with that because if you think the Thunder roll and the series is short, that should make you like the every game bets better because there are less chances for the bad outlier games. If you think the series is long, that should make you like the any game bets better because you get more chances. You only need one of them. So here's where I started. You know I love the series leaders. Series leaders sucks in this series. Jokic is going to lead in rebounds. Jokic is going to lead in assists, and Shea's going to lead in points. Congratulations. It's like minus 2,500 for all of those. You can't do anything with it. They're literally not even listing blocks on the board. I'm intrigued by threes. I'm not playing it now because nobody knows who's going to lead in threes. So I'm going to come back after a game or two and then take some long shots. So I said, okay, where can we go? I wanted J-Dub assists. I wanted Christian Brown points, but not for leaders. Like, let's not be crazy. So, okay, we'll start with Jokic. Here's number 1. Jokic at least 7 assists every game of the series, plus 475. Now, I'm going to call this segment sponsored by BetMGM because this entire thing is BetMGM picks here. Jokic, in the playoffs the last 2 seasons, has at least 7 assists, 18 of 19 playoff games. The only one he didn't hit that is the Game 6 blowout Timberwolves 70-point game last year. He had 2 when he was awful in that game. Otherwise, he had 7 or more every single playoff game. He had 7 or more 60 of 70 regular season games, including 8, 9, 13, 16 against the Thunder. I'll do the math for you. Basically, I'm assuming for all of these that the series goes 6 games. So again, if you think it's shorter, the odds get even better. But if he's a 6-game series, he should be about 40% to have 7 assists in every game. That would be plus 150. We're getting plus 475. I'm going to let you respond so far. Jokic, 7 assists every game, plus 475. How do you like the first one?
I'm thinking because I don't know. I wonder if they're going to take the approach of make him be a scorer, which the Wolves did, right? Like the
I wonder that also. He just handles so much that I think he still is going to get the 7 assists. That's kind of where I'm at on it.
He can pick up 3 on outlet passes and
right.
get there. I don't hate it. I'm not confident enough in it, but like it's Jokic. I can't say the assist prop is bad especially when it's 7. So yeah, I can sign off on that one.
All right, I'm going to keep going. Shea's up next. Again, Shea point leader, minus 450. I mean, he's going to lead. I don't need a minus 450. Come back and, maybe hit that one later if he has a bad game 1. I'll say this. I will be terrified in game 1 of all my every game bets going awry like they did last series because it's like a Thunder blowout and then the starters get none of the minutes. So I looked at the Shea points every game. We did that one last round. It busted immediately. It's 27 per game. I don't hate it. I like it. I just like 2 other Shea ones better. So here's number 2. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 4 or more assists in every game of the series, plus 260. We talked about this one earlier a little bit. 6.5 assists versus Denver, 6.5 in the regular season is average. He had at least 4 assists in 73 out of 80 games so far this year. That would mean that he would hit this about 58% of the time over 6 games. So better than half the time, we're getting plus 260. Number 3 is an any game bet. I need 8 rebounds in any game of the series from Shea. So we only need 1 time where he gets 8 rebounds. Now, if you look at the regular season, he got 8 rebounds about once every 5 games. So that would make this about 73% likely. It's already a good bet for us. But that's the regular season. That's regular season minutes and it's regular season effort. If you look at the playoffs in 2 years, last year and this year, Shea's played 14 playoff games, and he has 8 or more rebounds, 6 of the 14. Almost half of them, he has 8 or more rebounds, including he had it last round, he had once, and against Denver this year, he had an 8 and a 7 as well. If you go by his playoff number, this is real math. I checked it a bunch of times because it seems crazy to me. If you go by his playoff rate of hitting 8 rebounds, which he's done 6 out of 14 times, 8 rebounds in a 6-game series would happen at least once, 97% of the time. We only need it to happen 1 time. It's plus 290. Spoiler, this is my favorite of the 6. That number is way off. He rebounds a lot in the series. So Shea, 8 or more rebounds in any game, 4 or more assists in every game. Thoughts on Shea before I get to the last 3?
What book is that at? It's all about MGM.
Matt, come on.
It's all about MGM. You said
that MGM sponsoring the segment.
I'm sorry. Do not say that. The BetMGM is not sponsoring the segment, just so we're clear. They're not getting no freebies here. Yeah. So I think I'm trying to think of how 8+ in any game loses. I mean, he's going to be guarded by CB. CB's not going to lose him. Well, no. Take that back. Okay, I love this. Here's a good reason why. Christian Braun's going to be his primary defender. Christian Braun's favorite thing to do is to get he contests, and then CB is jetting for transition points because Jokic is so good at the touchdown pass, and CB is so athletic, and he's become such a great finisher, which means that this increases the chances of CB contesting a shot, heading up for it, and then there's a loose ball tip, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander grabs the offensive rebound. So yes, I'm in on this plus 290. That's a phenomenal bet. It's a great one.
All right, let's go to Christian Braun because this is actually my favorite long shot one. I like Christian Braun, number 5 here. Or this is number 4, sorry. Christian Braun, at least 10 points in every game of the series. Plus 725, again, at BetMGM. Christian Braun, I noticed in the season series, scored a lot of points against the Thunder. He had 16, 24, 19, and 14. That's like serious scoring punch from Christian Braun, 18.3 points a game. He was excellent. He had 9 stocks in those 4 games. He is averaging more than 2 3-pointers a game. He's going to get those against the Thunder. He's going to get their shots up. That's what the Thunder want him to do. He had good advanced metrics in those games. I think this is a Brown series. I think what can Brown do for you? We're going to finally learn how to say his name the right way. I think he's going to have a very good series. He's going to play a lot of minutes. I like that even when the Nuggets bench their stars, it's still not Christian Brown. Like, he still plays with some of the backup guys, so we might get some minutes that way. He had 10 or more points 88% of his games so far this season, and that's in his 34 minutes a game in the regular season mostly. Playoffs, he's almost 40 minutes a game. I have this almost a coin flip in a 6-game series for him to average, or him to get 10 or more points in every game. It's plus 725. This is my second favorite of the group. It's my favorite long shot. Christian Brown. You didn't mention him among all the guys whose series it is or isn't. I think it's a Christian Brown series. What do you think?
I don't. So the Thunder transition defense is elite, and the playoffs provide much fewer opportunities because everybody just kind of gets back. Christian was second in play, or he was either first. I don't remember if Giannis passed him at the end or not. He was either second or first in transition points per game, fast break points per game per NBA.com. So I can't sign off on this one because I think there's a good chance that a lot of, like, I counted on him absolutely ripping apart the Clippers. Like, I was early on him, and he had a really good game 7 and he had a really good game 5, but overall for the series, it was kind of disappointing from my perspective. This season in transition, the Thunder were 90th percentile in transition defense, and now they're going to be even more motivated, and the games are slower. Christian doesn't excel in those kind of situations, and they have 2 shot blockers on the interior when one of his best things is slip cuts or split action cuts for him to get to the rim. So I can't sign off on this one.
I agree with all that, honestly. He still scored 18 a game against them in the regular season when they're also really good against transition. So I'm going to take a shot at it. I gave out his game 1 points over. I also gave out Jalen Williams assists game 1 over. J-Dub assists. 9, 8, and 6 his last 3 games against Denver. 7.7 per game on almost 14 potentials. That's way up from his season numbers. Average 5.1 a game the rest of the season on 9.4 potentials. So I think J-Dub, I agree. I think this is a J-Dub series. I think he does a little bit of everything. I looked at points, rebounds, all sorts of stuff. J-Dub, here's number 5. 3 or more assists every game. That is such a low number for J-Dub.
Yep.
He has had 3 or more assists in 28 straight games right now. 28 in a row. We just need 3 or more. He's done that in 92% of all games so far this season. This is an implied 60% or more to hit in a 6-game series. Again, better than 50-50. It's plus 250 at BetMGM. Here's one, if you can't get that, if you don't have BetMGM, if you want, at DraftKings, you can do 6 assists per game at 3-1. I don't mind that. I prefer the other one better, but I think that's a nice alternative. I'd make that around plus 125. So J-Dub, 3 or more assists every game, or the 6 per game. Last one, this is just a bad number. I find it kind of a boring bet. Aaron Gordon, 3 or more rebounds every game. It's plus 170. He had at least 4 every game in the Clippers series. I think this one is mispriced because Gordon had 18 games in the regular season under 24 minutes. He's not going to do that in the playoffs. If you throw those games out, there's 41 other games. He's had at least 3 rebounds in 37 of them. So 90%. Again, I make this slightly better than a coin flip. We're getting plus 170. So that's number 6. Aaron Gordon, 3 or more rebounds, plus 170. Just to recap, here's my 3 favorites. Number 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, at least 8 rebounds in any game of the series. It's plus 290. This is like a max play for me, and I don't say that very often. This is going to be a 2.5 unit play, even at the juice. I love this. Number 2, Christian Brown, 10 or more points in every game, plus 750. And my third favorite is J-Dub assists, 3 or more assists every game, plus 250. So if you're not going to do everything, those are my top 3 in that order.
Terrific stuff. Awesome stuff. I put those in my slips. I will hit those after we're done recording and put them in the Action Network app. You should log them as well. Those are all great bets. Great stuff by Brandon Anderson here on Buckets. That's going to do it for the Nuggets Thunder Nuggets preview. We'll see if it's a long series. Brandon, I don't think it'll be too long. Brandon thinks it'll be a little longer than I do. We'll see where it winds up. We'll do Wolves versus Warriors tomorrow, so you'll have that in your feeds. You got buckets from Sunday night with Brandon, Joe, and Jim in your feed right now. You can check out best bets for Monday's games. We'll do Monday's best bets tomorrow with folks, and every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week we will have buckets live at 10:30 Eastern. My thanks to David Payne for staying up with us late on a Sunday night to do a lot of work. My thanks to Giver Gould. Get this up at youtube.com/theactionnetwork. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.